I subbed at an agricultural community that was very what you consider a poverty school, and I left there saying that was the hardest $70 I ever earned in my life, and I had a headache, and I said never again. But halfway home, I started laughing. I was like, well, they were kind of entertaining, so I went back. I mean, it's really turned into something. It was a pure accident. I never dreamed of being in education. Never dreamed it.
Right.
I look at the number of students just in my summer block, and most of them was repeat customers. And I said, listen, if I didn't treat you well last semester, you'd be taking somebody else this semester. So it doesn't matter whether I'm selling education or selling coffee. If I don't treat you well, you're not going to come back. In a rural community, yes, business is about people, and you don't get as many get out of jail free cards. In rural communities, you recognize the last names. And, when I named my son, people said, wait a minute, I remember a Gussie Burkhart. I'm like, yeah, it was my grandfather. And then they come out with all these amazing stories. And next thing we talk about generational. Next thing I know, I got people doing random acts of kindness for my son because of who his great grandfather was. But the same can be true on the flip side. If you don't treat people well, it continues on and makes life more challenging. So, yes, you don't get away with the things that you might get away with in a small community as you would a large community.
Talking about then your session, what can people expect? What's it going to be like?
One thing for sure, it will not be instructional. I hear I'm going later in the day, so nobody wants another PowerPoint. Now, there may be a point of reference. I'm a big believer in conversation based. I don't know who's going to be in the room, whether it's just me by myself or 50 people, but I will not be the smartest person in the room. So we want to bring that knowledge forward, and everything I do is conversation based, because you put people together, that's when good things come about. The biggest takeaway I take away from any session I go to is the people. It's the side conversation. The presentations are always great. You can take yourself away from that, but I always have like my little mental Rolodex. It's like, if something comes up, who can I reach out to? So I know nothing about writing, but yet I've helped students publish a book. I dislike coffee, but yet I'm trying to get a student to open up their own coffee business. So, for example, last year I just happened to sit by a guy, and he was a superintendent of school. And then this year, we have a student going up there to his coffee bus at his school district, and it's been on the news from Kansas City to Quincy, Illinois, all the way to Shreveport, Louisiana. So it's national news now, and it kind of blows my mind, because I'm not doing anything special. I'm just putting good people in the same room at the same time, and that's what happens at events like this. You get good people in the room at the same time, and they all have different specialties, and just let people do what they're good at. Just let people do what they're good at, and amazing things will happen. I just hope people come out with the mindset of, hey, what can I take away? What can I bring to the table? Don't be afraid to speak up. I love finding out what other people are good at. And if I can put two people that are good at things that I'm not good at in the same room, something amazing is going to happen for me in my learning process. And usually the byproduct is something amazing, if not life-changing, happens for one of my students. And that's one of my ultimate goals, is to serve my students better, which I know will happen after this conference.